listen to the beat of this heart. Every time that Stefan plays this in ceremony, in our Love Facebook lives, live from Rythmia, this opens my heart in so many ways, in so many pathways, so many infinite journeys. This piece of music always is such a key to find one's unity, wholeness achieved. So find that piece of you in this medicine. We welcome you, and we'll wait just a few more beautiful heartbeats here so that we can have all of you here with us together. And today on Our Love Live, we have two special guests, including, of course, this music man, Stefan, who's the creative director here at Rythmia, and who is about to share how you can fall in love. I know that I just fall in love with this playing in the background, and I find that falling in love first and foremost with ourselves, so that then we can find our true partner, is where the unity and the wholeness is achieved. So welcome.
Thank you, everybody, for joining. Thank you, Parashakti, for the wonderful words and the very warm introduction. It's always my pleasure to play in ceremony. I absolutely love it. I'm so happy I could share that. I'm so grateful I get the opportunity. And I just want to talk a little bit about what Our Love, the app, is. So Our Love is Rythmia Love, and it was an act of service from Jerry and the team here for all the people who've come to Rythmia, or all the people seeking a deeper connection, to find your soulmate, find that soul connection on a slightly deeper level. So it's an app for iOS, Android. Go ahead and download it, and hopefully you can find your soul connection.
There's some very unique things about this dating app. Anything you want to share specifically that's unique about it?
Sure. We collect your soul signature. It's an area where you can create your soul signature, which is your unique expression in the universe. And it's a series of different questions that really go a lot deeper than some of the other dating apps out there to find out who you are as a person, your soul's expression. And then we match you with people based on that. And we ask about your different spiritual practices, any modalities that you're into, any transformation workshops that you've been through. And pretty soon, in just a few days now, we're going to launch Star Match, and we'll be able to connect you with people based on your birth chart, which is really, really cool. All you have to do is put in your birthday, your time of birth, and you get your birth chart right there, and you get to see like-minded people, or people who are similar to the celestial influences that were around when you were born.
And with that, I'm going to say that it's never too late. And the two special guests that we have here are a couple who have been together for 50 years. And they're here at Rythmia this week to share their story, their soul signature, what brought them together and kept that marriage going, and then even more deeply connected them on this journey this week. So I thank you. You're going to come back to us and close with this wonderful medicine of the heart.
Awesome.
Thank you, Stefan.
You're welcome.
And I want to invite Pamela and Dwayne, who are light warriors indeed. They shared with me, as they start to come onto the set here, they shared with me that they have 7 children and 34 grandchildren. So welcome, Dwayne and Pamela. Yay! welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, first, what I want to say is that the both of you have created throughout your lifetime masterpieces. And you shared with me that you're both in your own right artists. And so you definitely followed your, as Stefan called it, your soul signature, your calling. And on that note of calling, you found each other in high school. Wow. Wow. So Pam, why don't we start with you?
Sure.
And why don't we start not from the very beginning, from this week.
Right.
And I'd love for you just to share from your heart.
This week has been really transformational. And it's been transformational because we have found that although we've tried to, and we've been pretty successful at understanding each other over the course of a number of years, we find that at times we still get stuck. And we get stuck in our own patterns. Our patterns can be, it'll start maybe with a bit of irritation, and then it'll go to some criticism and maybe some blame. And sometimes there's anger, like there is in just about any marriage. And this week we found that there are things that we could do, things that we can go home now and practice more, to avert those things, because every time we find we clash, something is lost, and it takes a while to regain that. And so if we're constantly, when we clash and then we try to go to some understanding, I mean, that's good, but there comes a time where there can still be a loss there, a loss of a little bit of trust. It can erode us a bit. So with Rythmia, we have found that through the medicine and through the meditation that we've learned and all the wonderful things that we've come to find out here, that we can do better. And that's really what marriage is about. It's maybe taking a couple of steps backward, maybe a step forward, and marriage can be difficult. I mean, it's a joy. It's a joy to work together and to raise our family and to go through life together. But those clashes can sometimes be inevitable. And now we're finding out that we can do better.
Very good.
Beautiful. And you, Dwayne, this week for you, both for yourself and as a couple?
Well, marriage is, like we were talking about, transformational. But unless you yourself are also changing, there's going to be a conflict, and that something would need to be done. My story started that our daughter came here, and her husband, a week prior to that, they came back and had a miracle, and they used those exact words, saying it was the very best day of their entire life. We later found out that our next door neighbor had also had an ayahuasca experience, and he said the same thing. And so Pam and I decided to go ahead and make that commitment. And I was skeptical, like everybody else. You know, spiritual healing was a very nebulous term that really I couldn't get my arms around. I didn't really understand what it was. I have a very clear understanding now. I guess it all started, and why I felt the need is that I went through a very traumatic time with my father. There was no sexual abuse, but there was physical abuse. He did a number of things to me that I thought I had resolved, in fact, never did. And over the years, I developed a shell around me. I didn't want the vulnerability. I didn't want to be smothered by a pillow anymore. I didn't want to be beat by a belt or whatever, some of the things I had to go through. So I developed a hard shell that you can't penetrate. Well, with that shell, I'm not able to also express myself, and people can't express me. And when I talk to people, I'd ask them, "How are you?" Or they may ask me how I am, and I say, "Oh, I'm fine." And then that way I don't have to interact, and I don't have to be vulnerable. But what happened was truly a miracle. When I went to the classes, I found, and this is my explanation, that we live in the world today, and we don't really ever deal with emotions and the physical life and the physical life were not meshing. I was living physical life, but I wasn't living and expressing emotionally. And so all these emotions were being put down and put down. And these 4 nights that we were here has allowed me, through the medicine, through the classes, which were very, very important, and hearing the shaman and talking to other people and having this support work, I was able to address those and confront those issues and have them surface. And it was I'm going to say a traumatic experience in a good way, because as they teach you here in Rythmia, it's what, as hard as some of the emotions you're going to experience are, that means that the stuff is coming to the surface and it's going away. So the best way I can explain it, to summarize it, is that I feel lighter and freer. And it's real. It's not an imaginary thing that maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. I feel I'm happier. People have told me I've had a joy and a lightheartedness, and they feel it. And that's the best way I can tell you.
So powerful and beautiful.
Thank you.
So earlier, Pam had said that I would say, for all the years that you have been living, you said you would always have this anxiety and worry, right? And you said that this morning you woke up, or should I say, she didn't wake up because she didn't really go to sleep. Thursday nights we have our all-night ceremony. But in your own right, you woke up to not feeling that same worriness, that same anxiety.
That is correct. And worry has always been a part of me, and anxiety since I was a child. I grew up in a pretty unstable household, and so I was always concerned, as my brother was, that we not rock the boat with Mom, that she had a great deal of stresses on her life, and I, as a child, did not want to add to that, and she suffered from severe depression, and my brother was really too young to. He was young enough to be impacted, but not so young that he still had a pretty normal life. But as the oldest, a child takes upon them everything that you're capable of, or you think that you're capable of. And so, and also in my family, independence was a real virtue. And really, it was a little backwards. I mean, self-sufficiency, we want to develop self-sufficiency in our children, but we don't want to develop an independence, because that separates us from our parents and from our siblings, and it isolates us. And so, but in my family, independence was the more independent you were, the better you were. The better your grades were, the better you were. So love was quite conditional. And so I had to deal with that. And when you bring these items to a marriage, these negative items, it can really cause problems, because I was brought up in this independent tradition and was not willing to let go of that. And so we found ourselves, while we agreed on many things over the course of the years, and while we have always loved each other, it hasn't always been easy. We've had to negotiate our path as best we could. Coming to Rythmia really helped me to see Dwayne in a different light. Probably most of all, to see myself in a different light, what I was capable of, and what I was not capable of. And I found that over these days, frustration and anger really started to dissipate. And it's been wonderful to see that change within both of us.
So beautiful.
Yeah.
So it's falling in love again and again.
And I think that's what keeps a marriage going. I think you have said it correctly.
Yeah.
Definitely.
I was going to say the shell that I developed. I wanted to do that because being hurt, and I'm sure the audience can identify. We've had traumatic experiences as a child, as an adult, with different experiences that have happened to us. Some within our control, some not within our control. I wound up saying, I can't be hurt again. I don't want to be vulnerable. So, and it's caused problems in our marriage because this beautiful lady right here is the one that has the capability of hurting more than anybody else. And so when we would have a fight, I would crawl back into my cave for 3 days and we wouldn't talk. And so once again, I was suppressing this emotion. And now what I've learned through this experience is that I've got to release that emotion. I've got to let it go. I've got to experience that emotion. There's no easy way. If you don't do that, then it builds up and it's going to affect you. And as strong as you might think you are, you are not able to deal with it unless it's on an ongoing basis that you're really working towards improving yourself. And Rythmia gave us the steps and the understanding exactly how to do it. And I feel like a new person. I really do feel reborn.
Ah! One of the things you shared earlier with me is that you're going to take home a committed practice, a spiritual practice. Do you want to speak to that about, working together on this spiritual journey? So what is that practice that you're committing to?
Well, we've talked about it. We practice our faith and as Christians, and so this is in no way conflicted with that. And we've committed to each other that once we leave here, we're going to embrace, and we were taught all this step by step. And there's many different ways to do it. This is the simplest way. We're going to embrace meditation. And from meditation, we will pray and ask for guidance and healing. There is a change in our diet. We're already pretty good plant-based eaters, but we can improve a little bit, especially me. And we're going to focus on our marriage. We're going to talk things out. We're not going to suppress things anymore. What else am I missing?
Yeah, I think the trust needs to be forever in a marriage cultivated. And with us, sometimes we lose that and we go back into our corners. And so I think now that I will be able to trust Dwayne to not retreat. And I think he will be able to trust me. Gee, I don't really think there's anything I've done. No, I'm only kidding. He can trust me not to criticize him, not to to be more honest and upright with my feelings, because it's easy to say, sure, I'm okay. If he asks me how I am, yeah, I'm okay, and turn away. And he knows full well that there is something wrong with me, and I know full well that I'm not being honest with him by saying I'm okay.
One of the things that we talked about emotion, I've really experienced different levels of emotion that I never really thought about. I never really had the empathy for other people and the understanding that I've gained here. And so when Pam or somebody else says something, I have to pull back and say, these are souls that have been wounded, just like we are. Everybody has those issues. And I have to understand that the world doesn't revolve around Dwayne or Pam, but that there are other spirits and people that have lives like we are, that that they need to heal as well. And so now I have a forgiveness when somebody says something or does something. I'm not going to react with anger right away. I'm going to step back and say, I don't know what shoes they've walked in and paths they've taken. And so I have to have this understanding, and I will not be able to, I'll be able to release, hopefully, the proper emotion, but it won't be one of anger and resentment where I pull back. I will release it and have that understanding.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. So there's a deeper truth in which you're committing to express to one another of what's soulfully going on in your heart and not up here, right? And there's really a new language that you're going to be speaking, that you already are speaking from this week.
And we'll be able to do better on that. And I would not have understood at any point in time that just a few days here, a week actually, could make such a difference. Because if one goes to therapy, that's an ongoing thing. And here, we have so many teachers who have been able to tell us and share with us just new insights and new ideas. And, if you understand your insights, you could put then into practice some extremely valuable tools. And that's what we've learned here. I mean, it's just been like a crash course in being a better person. And so if we are better people, we have better relationships, especially a better marriage.
Albert Einstein once said, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. And so...
And we've been guilty of that.
Yes, we have.
Yeah,
and
we have.
And so is it a surprise that things don't improve? So we go through life and we kind of are satisfied with mediocrity.
Yeah.
And we get in a groove and say, this is a world how it is. And it's really not that way. There's so much we don't understand. And now we've been enlightened and we recognize that we have the ability to improve and change ourselves. And God or whatever higher power you believe in wants that for us. But at the same time, doesn't mean that we're never going to have any problems. But how we accept those and deal with those is a healing that we find out about how to take care of here. And that's so important.
Wow. Thank you so much for gracing us with your beauty, with your presence, with your truth, with your infinite amount of love for one another and the commitment to work together as a team. And as we like to say, to leave here in a new way.
Thank you.
Thank
you.
Really very powerful. Is there any last thing you would like to share?
I would love to stay for several weeks or months.
Yes, everyone that comes to
Yeah,
Rythmia feels that way.
Right.
Because it does. You land here and it feels like home. It's
It
the
does
soul.
feel
It's a
like
soul
home.
family.
It does. And I would also say that one thing that has helped us is all of the loving people that are here, not only staff, but when I first came, there were 45 people that I didn't know. And I thought, how am I ever going to lay next to them with our mattresses 4 inches apart? That just kind of threw me a little bit. That would seem very uncomfortable. And yet, night after night, I would look for some certain people, really anyone that I could put my mattress next to and enjoy the evening together with strangers whom now I will miss very dearly as we leave.
Well, the audience is looking at somebody who's been awake for 31 hours. And at 72 years old, believe me, I could never have done this in my normal life. I would have been exhausted. And having the experience of what we had last night, it was a spiritual reawakening like I can't explain. But I want to say one thing in the parting words, is that the plant medicine is great and it's the foundation of the program. But the classes and the instructors truly are inspirational. They are so good, so good. And then the food here is awesome. It's designed to cleanse your body. And so when you go through the program and you're a week later, you feel like a new person. So
Amazing. So with the subject being unity, wholeness achieved, we give such thanks to this incredible couple that came and shared the journey of their lives. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Really, really
Thank you.
appreciate you, Pam. Really appreciate you. Thank you, Dwayne. So we are now going to invite Stefan back to close for us.
Okay.
And Stefan, for those who maybe just that joined now, is the creative director, and he's going to bring the medicine of his music. And also for those who just joined, he'll speak a little bit about the Our Love dating app and just send you off with a lot of love. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back, Stefan.
All right, here we go.
Okay.
Get my antennas out.
So you wanted to say a word about how music is such a big part of Rythmia, the journeying with the medicine?
Yeah, I would love to. It really helps guide the experience.
Yeah.
And there's been several times I'll talk to guests the next day after we play on Wednesdays, and like, oh man, this song moved me in this way, or this particular melody really moved me in this way. So when they're going through a hard time and it's really challenging, the music can really be like this guiding beacon,
Exactly.
leading them from the bitter to the sweetness. So it has a tremendous effect on people's transformation that goes on here.
Amazing.
And as far as a musiquero playing it, I mean, it's something I love, and to be in that type of energy and setting, it's such a gift to share that. So it seems like I'm healing myself and they're healing. It's just a bubble of love and healing.
I love it. So let's receive that bubble of love. So if you've never been to Rythmia, it's not too late to book. We are open. The doors to the heart are open. And it's a soulful journey to receive your miracle. You can also join tomorrow Kim Terranova, and she interviews one of our soulful tribal members with their miracle. And that's at 2 p.m. live on Rythmia. And we have the Our Love dating app for all you wonderful, single, heartfelt soul journeyers. And I know that, apps can be sometimes just, like a feeling of a waste of time. So maybe today, download that app. And Stefan soon will say just a few more words of wisdom about. He is the co-creator.
Yeah, I mean, I really think you covered it. Definitely be on the lookout for the new feature Star Match. That will be released soon. I think that'll be really fun in one-player mode, meaning you can download it and get your birth chart and have a fun time without a lot of people being there. But it also gives you the recommendations on it, so you can meet other people as well. Yeah. It's always fun to kind of know your birth chart and the different celestial influences and what your rising sign is and how that may shape or give insights into your personality, things like that. So I'm always intrigued by it.
And a lot of people that are on there have been to Rythmia, so it's really like-minded fellow journeyers. You could listen to him all day and all night, because this gets played all night sometimes. So thank you so much for joining us. My name is Parashakti, and it's such an honor to be here in residency at Rythmia, and I hope to see you soon. Thank you.
Goodbye.